Hi everyone, my name is NBA Malaka and welcome to Banyana Skolo because Banyana gets Skolo. I don't know, guys. I'm not nervous. I think I'm just still trying to find the rhythm of the intro, but we'll find it as time goes along. But anyway, Banyana Skolo, come to the front. Okay. If you know how to polish to go to school, come to the front. If you know emela transport, come to the front. If you know that you walk to school, what better blazer, come to the front. If you just got to varsity, you're still trying your feet, you don't even know your course codes off by heart, come to the front. If you are in varsity, right? You've been there a year and some change, but you are also still tatazelling because life is dribbling you, come to the front. Banyana Skolo, and this is for you. Lecture number 1 is life is school without a timetable. Now, what do I mean when I say to you life is school without a timetable? I mean that school literally gets you into a routine, okay? When you are in high school, primary, high school, even varsity, you have a timetable. That timetable tells you where you are going to be at what time, and you then structure your life around that timetable. And with the amount of years that you spend in school, the timetable becomes your Bible. Literally, like without it, your life falls apart, right? And what happens is that as you're going through school as someone who has grasped their timetable, then you are able to plan your life out correctly. You know which classes are at what time. You know which ones also you need to focus more on. Like, you just know a whole lot of things a lot better when you've got a timetable. So life, when you are done with school, post school, life is school without a timetable. You create the timetable. So here's the biggest mistake that a lot of us make when we leave school, is that we take the fundamental skills that we are taught in school and we let them go. I know for me, the first one was keeping a diary. Having a diary, and not like a journaling diary, like literally diary yako Skolo with your timetable where you write down your homework, where you write down your assignments, and I don't know why I let go of that when I got to varsity. Clearly because, the varsity doesn't offer diaries like your school does. But for me, I realized very quickly that the one thing that was keeping my life together was my diary. And that's why when I got to varsity, my life was in disarray because I was just now relying on my own memory to recall all of the things that I need to do, and then I would end up forgetting a lot of those things, and then I'm just a disoriented student, and that's not nice. That's not nice. So for the girlies who are in varsity, perhaps maybe get yourself a diary so that you can also restructure your life properly, like you had it in high school, and for the high school girlies, use your diary. Get into the habit of using your diary, because that skill, that habitual skill, habitual thing, something that you do over and over, habit. There we go. That habitual habit that you're creating from using your diary on a daily basis is going to come in handy when you get to places like varsity and post-varsity, when you are managing your own life on your own without a school that is telling you where to be, how to be, and right? So the earlier that you get this, the better your life is going to be moving forward. And yeah, you just keep the habits that you learn in school throughout your life. Okay, and then moving on, the schooling routine teaches you how to multitask. Listen, guys, school teaches you so much. I know that there's also a lot of other thought processes regarding school and the system that we live in. Those are not things we're going to be getting into right now, okay? Life is nuanced, right? So let's keep that in mind when we are listening here. There are nuances to everything. What I am speaking about now are the benefits of school, right? So I am saying to you that the schooling routine teaches you how to multitask. And that is true. Why? Because if you're in high school and your timetable says for the first 2 periods you have mathematics, and the next 2 periods you have English, and then maybe life science, whatever your subjects might be, you are juggling 7 subjects at the same time. Already, that is multitasking, my babe. Already, that is multitasking. I don't know if you knew, but I'm going to tell you, already you are multitasking. You are studying 7 different subjects at the same time, and you are making sure that for all 7 of those subjects, you are meeting the minimum requirements to progress so that you can move on to the next grade. Now, I'm not saying let's be minimum students, bare minimum students. Let's not do that, please. No. Let's aim for the highest, right? But the point is that you are doing 7 subjects at the same time, and you are making sure that you are passing all of them so that you can progress to the next grade. If you are in varsity, you are studying the course of your choice. Hopefully you are studying the course of your choice, but either way, whatever you are studying a degree that is specific to a particular field, and within whatever year that you are studying, there are different modules that you need to pass in order to progress to the next year. So even that is also, well, multitasking on a much tighter scale than what you were doing in high school, right? But the work obviously does get more extensive. So if there is one thing that you are also going to take from the schooling system and how it shapes you to become a proper person who is able to keep a head high on their shoulders and manage their lives, is that you need to be able to multitask from very early on. So when exam season comes around, you are not shaking in your boots and thinking, oh my gosh, I have 7 subjects, high schoolers, or I have 5 modules, varsity, and I don't know where to start. You do know where to start, because throughout the term or throughout the semester, you've been doing the work, right? So don't be overwhelmed by the fact that now you need to be writing exams and you must cram everything all at once. No, you have been doing the work. And if you have been paying attention in your class, then for all of those subjects, all of those modules, you kind of have an idea of what is going on. So when exam season comes around, all you need to do is just scale it down, right? And also make sure that you're giving every single subject the amount of time that it needs for you to get through all of the work. Some subjects and some modules obviously definitely need more time than others, especially the ones that we struggle with the most. And that's why the subjects that we like are usually the ones that we do the best in, and those might not need you to put in as much time, definitely the same amount of effort. So the main point of what I am saying here when I'm telling you about the multitasking is also trying to show you that life after school is exactly that. You now become in charge of creating the timetable for yourself. You now become in charge of breaking your life up into different modules and figuring out how much time you're going to give each and every module. So when you are in school, high schoolers, varsity girlies, early varsity girlies, I am begging you, like, milk it. Milk the skills that school is trying to teach you. Milk the skills that you are getting from all of the engagements that you do in school, because those then become the fundamental values that help you govern your life post school, post everyone telling you things to do. Like, think about the fact that in high school, your teachers run after you to do your homework, right? And they run after you to submit your assignments and when you are not working according to the timelines that they've given you, then you get demerits, you get all of these things in between, and that kind of lessens when you get to varsity. No one is running around trying to ask you to submit your assignments. I mean, they will send out reminders and things like that, but once the deadline has arrived and you haven't submitted, no one is coming to ask you why you have not submitted. You would be the one to have to explain why your assignment is late. But even then, they're subtracting marks, and that's not something that really happens in high school, and if you're bunking class in high school, for example, they're looking for you, they're walking around, they're going to give you detention, they're going to call your parents, write letters to your parents. No one is doing that in university. Nobody is doing that for you. Go varsity. You are your own teacher, you are your own RCL, you are everything. So if you're going to slack, you're the only one who's going to feel that you're slacking. So my main point here is whatever skills that are being imparted in you, is that the right English? I'm not sure. But the skills about Skolo already from high school, make sure you are grabbing as much as you can so that you can use that go varsity, so that you can also use that how go training go varsity. Because guys, like nako ya skolo is a speed, and when it finishes and then you are left with yourself and you have to figure your life out, it's all fun and games for like 2 seconds, but it's real, like it's real. And then it all goes back to how much were you paying attention in school. And it's not to say, were you the smartest student? No, but how much were you paying attention? How much were you paying attention? You know? So you just always need to keep those things at the back of your mind. Right. My next point is that all of the free time you have in varsity will fool you into believing that everything is vibes. So like I was just saying now, how much were you paying attention, right? So I firmly believe that a student must do more than the bare minimum, right? So the bare minimum is going to school and attending your classes. I personally feel like whatever level you're at, especially high school actually, but varsity if you also still have a bit of time, because varsity is a different ball game. But high school, I don't see why you're not participating in a sport. I don't see why you're not participating in a cultural activity. I don't see why after school you want to loiter and just do nothing. I don't get that. For me, I really don't get that, but that's something that we will dive into in one of the other episodes. But the point is that when you are a student who has too much free time on their hands, so let's say you don't do any sports, you don't do any cultural activities, you kind of feel like life is just vibes, you know what I mean? And then you go into university, and university you have even more free time, so life really starts to feel like vibes. Your degree, your diploma, whatever it is that you're studying starts to feel like your side hustle, because you have so much time on your free hands. And what happens when you are done with that cycle? You have all of this free time on your hands and you don't know what to do with yourself, and then you're also just not moving in the right direction that is going to push you towards being productive. And we don't want that. We want to counter that. We want you to be in a position where you know nako ya ka ke sebedisa so, and this is what I get from it because I'm putting in the work like this, and this is the type of person that I am, right? So from as early as you can, high school, university, whatever free time that you have, try and fill it with something that is productive. I am not saying don't rest. Please absolutely rest, right? But do more working and putting yourself out there than you are resting. Rest is for later. Rest is for people that have already reached their goals. Rest is for people that are already successful in whatever areas that they wanted to be successful in. But as for you, Skolo, who is still trying to build themselves, rest is not your number one priority. It should be there somewhere, but it's not your number one. So if you have a lot of free time on your hands, please, by all means, try it and fill it with something. Join a club, join a sport, be active in your community, volunteer, do something. Tutor or join tutoring classes, take extra classes, but make sure that you have as little free time as possible so that you are not also getting yourself into situations that you don't want to see yourself in, right? So in my intro video, I mentioned one of these reasons, that like a lot of the schools in the townships don't really have afternoon activities for the kids, and then the kids end up loitering, they end up doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. I'm not saying they absolutely do 100% everywhere, but kids in the suburbs have the option of doing some type of sports, whereas a lot of the schools in the townships don't necessarily have those things, right? So let's also look at the environments that we come from as people and take advantage of the environment that you're in. If you see that you are more privileged than other kids in other schools, for example, you have more sports that you can do, please do it, because you're also giving yourself the opportunity to learn another skill, a skill that you can add to your applications, your CVs. You just don't know where all of the skills that you're going to pick up are going to take you one day. You might be thinking right now, I'm just joining public speaking, like what's it going to do for me? I'm in high school. You don't know. What if a couple of years down the line you become an MC? You know what I mean? And that's where it started. It started with you doing public speaking in high school, and then maybe you join a debate team in your varsity or whatever case might be. But my point is, if there are privileges around you, execute, use, take up space. Like Zozi said, take up space, learn the skills, take as much as you can to equip yourself so that you can also give yourself more leverage in the playing field of the adult world. Because the adult world is, I don't know what to tell you girls, the adult world, and I'm only 28, but I'm telling you, the adult world is rough, right? So I'm telling you, teenagers and early 20 girlies, lock in. You don't start locking in at 28, babe. You lock in from freaking 14 or earlier if you can. So lock in, okay? The next thing I want to say is that build a routine that fits the person you are evolving into, right? So, for example, if you have realized that you do well in cross country, for example, and the season for cross country is approaching, what are you going to do to make sure that you do well by the time the season arrives? You're going to start training. Yes, there will be training at school with your coaches and your peers, but how do you take the extra step to make sure that you are ready before everyone else is starting to get ready and that you can do your personal best? You start training. So you slot in afternoons where you can start running, and you also start adjusting your diet. The same thing if you are into gymnastics, if you're into ballet, if you're into choir, rugby, soccer, hockey, netball, whatever sports that you are doing, you adjust your routine to the person that you are evolving into, right? And that's me just off the top of my head thinking you take the sport that you're doing seriously and you want to do well. Because we are not bare minimum students in this house, okay? If there's one thing you must take away from me, I'm not a bare minimum person. I was not a bare minimum student. I am not going to promote being a bare minimum student. I am going to promote being an overachiever because I know the benefits of being an overachiever. And it's nothing you'll ever be mad at yourself for, okay? Like, do best. Do the best that you can do. Always want to do the best that you can do. So you shift your routine into the person that you want to be. That's me giving an example for what you would do if you were in high school. If you're in varsity and perhaps you have similar interests, you're still going to do the same thing. Except now you have way more free time, which means you can tailor your schedule to suit you as best as you need it to, right? So let's use the running example again. You are still now running and you're training for races. Now you want to enter the 5k, the 10k, and maybe let's say at some point you are also wanting to run the 2 oceans, right? So you train for that. You build a routine that is in line with that person. Meaning that, my babe, let's say you have a race coming this weekend. You're not going to the club with your friends on Sunday nights, right? Because maybe let's say on Monday morning you need to wake up and train and you only have these couple of days to get ready for the race, right? Because I don't think children in high school should and are doing any of those things. You are absolutely underage. Talking to the girlies who are on varsity right now. You tailor your routine to the person you're evolving into. We'll talk about it at another stage, but just for context with this example, you have to wake up Monday morning, you need to gym, you need to train. You're not drinking with your friends on a Sunday night. You're just not doing that. Why are you killing yourself? Why are you setting yourself back when you should be setting yourself forward? And the reason I will use this example is because in as much as this is an educational platform, right? And I am pushing the girlies in the direction of falling in love with school and falling in love with the idea of how well school can change your life. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I was not a teenager, I was not a varsity student, and I don't know what these phases look like. I know, right? But I also know what is the best way for you to maneuver in these spaces so that you still get the best outcome out of yourself, right? And please pardon me if a lot of the examples I'm going to be using are related to the arts or sports. Those are the things that I did best in school. Those are the things that captured most of my attention. And I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't like anything in the classroom. I absolutely did. But everything I like and love is in the field of humanities and then also sports. I am not really a STEM person like that. So please do not be looking for that in me. But I will obviously, as time goes by, try to include the STEM girlies in my examples, right? Yeah. But this is a STEAM. This is a STEAM platform. We include the arts. We love the arts here. Okay. My next point is that you must be disciplined. Point blank period, my babe, you must be disciplined. And I think that is the most important point out of everything that I have said here, because everything that you are going to try and apply in your life is going to fall through the cracks if you are not disciplined. So let's use the 5K, 10K race on the Saturday again. You want to do the race and you want to do well, but if you're not training, if you're not eating properly, if you're not sleeping enough, you're not going to do well. And why is that? Because you are not disciplined. So even with your studies, if you are doing badly in a subject and you know that you need to do better in order to pass the term, be disciplined enough to put extra time into that subject so that you're not sitting with a red circle around one of your subjects and then now you're in jeopardy of failing the year. You just need to be disciplined. Same with the varsity girlies. Be disciplined. Yes, some universities offer subs, but it's not all of them that offer supplementary exams. Some of them you quit. Some of them you fail. You fail, right? I went to the Edge University and we don't have subs. We actually don't have subs at Wits. So if you're a Witsy, you know that you need to pass or it's done. You're just gonna have to repeat. I'm also not saying that other institutions are easier. Please, that's not what I'm saying. Don't come for me. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you just need to be disciplined as a person. In university, you know what the pass rate is. Don't go for that bare minimum pass rate. Always aim higher. Always aim higher. Be disciplined. If you know that on certain days you only have 1 or 2 classes and you've got the rest of the day off, be disciplined. Go to the library. Go and study. Or study in your room. Attend your TATs. Set up consultations with your teachers. Be intentional about wanting to be better. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because you're not just competing with yourself. You're competing with everyone. You're competing with kids that come from the same financial backgrounds as you, that come from better financial backgrounds as you, and kids that come from worse backgrounds as you, right? And all of those different areas of life have their own what is the word that I'm looking for? I don't know. Ambitions. Yes, everyone has their own level of ambition in those playing fields. The point is that life is not fair because we don't all have the same starting point. Some people start way further than others. Some start way behind others. But it is your attitude towards life that is going to ultimately get you to where you want to be. So when it comes to the topic of school, my girls, Banyana baga, listen to me. You are not going to go far if you're not a disciplined person. School is tough. School is tough, and the process of school is not nice for the most part, but when you start to romanticize it, it does become nice. When you start to take note of the things that you are doing well, it does become nice. When you start to note that your marks are going higher, it does become nice. The rewards of school are nice. The process of it might not be the best thing in the world, but the rewards are 100% nice, and they are absolutely life-changing. Do not fall for the propaganda that you're hearing in the streets about school being whack. Baby, I said to you guys in the previous video, and I'm going to remind you in every single video, the only thing that is going to save you in this life, especially you, I sing that great financially, school is your only option. School is your only option. School should be option number 1. School should always be a priority. Academic validation is nice. Don't let them lie to you. Passing is nice. Getting awards is nice. Graduating is nice. Getting jobs is nice. But those things don't just come. You have to work for them. You have to be intentional. So be disciplined, okay? o be ngwanyana o sharpo, ngwanyana o ratang skolo, ngwanyana o bonagalang gore yena ke skolo through and through. Okay, so stay on the track and like just work towards being better than you. Just work towards being better than you. Always, always, always. So I have something that I want to share here. This is the book that I am reading. I actually started reading this book today. So I had this whole idea of having a quote of the episode, like for every episode, and it was based around a book that I felt was very pivotal in getting me to where I am right now. I cannot share that book with you right now because I don't have it. One of my friends is reading it and I just didn't want to add quotes from the book without the physical book. So I figured since this is the one that I have right now, the name of the book is Synchro Destiny by Deepak Chopra. And I felt like, well, if this is the book that I'm holding right now, then maybe this is the book that I was meant to be holding right now. So this is going to be our book for the season. And at the end of every single episode, I will share a quote from this book. And the one that I've chosen today is on page 43. And it reads as consciousness moves, it imagines the world into existence. The mind is a field of energy and information. Every idea is also energy and information. I think I chose that one for today's episode because this is the first episode, the first official episode of this podcast. And obviously it's still a bit too early for you to fully understand where I am going with this. But I think I want you to realize, as the student that you are, that everything you are already thinking of wanting to achieve for yourself, whether you're in grade 8 or whether you are in third year university, it is possible for you. Literally from that early on, it is possible for you. I am where I am at the age of 28 because I listened to the girl who was dreaming when she was 14 and I worked towards her. Always. Every single year as I grew, I'm not saying that I didn't go through things and it wasn't hard, but I knew what I wanted already at the age of 14, or even younger, honestly. But I think, you know, at some point in your teen years, you become a lot more conscious of your thoughts. And that's how where I am today. So with you girlies that are at home, everything you think about is energy and information. So your thoughts can actually turn into things. So if you are thinking that you want to up your marks in the subjects that you're struggling with, you can do it. Take some of the things that I have said, apply them and see where that leads you. If you want to take some of your extracurricular activities more seriously because you're realizing that you are talented in whatever area, do it. Take it more seriously. Take it more seriously. Get your family involved. Get your parents involved. Let them know that this is something that you want to do. Be more serious. Be more intentional about your life. Because I promise you, you don't start figuring it out at 28. At 28 is when things start to click. Right? At 28 is when things start to click. Well, yeah, from like 25 going up, but I'm just going to refer to 28 because that's where I am right now. That's when things start to click. That's when everything that you've been doing within your teen years and your early 20s, everything, all of the things that you've been working towards, now you start to see, oh, this connects with that, this connects with that, and that's why I'm here. And how do I move to the next place that I want to be? And you don't start collecting your toys at 28 to build your Lego house. That's not how it works. So take school seriously, believe in yourself, believe in your potential, and work towards everything that you want to do because you absolutely can get there. Okay? Alright, my girlies, this is where I'm going to leave you today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please do subscribe, like, share, comment. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. And remember, Banyana, Skolo. Bye, girlies.